in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Woo! Yeah, he didn't come in a swimsuit. We're thankful for that. Haresh has spoken on leadership, membership, and motivation at several Rotary International conventions. So Eva, why don't you beam Haresh up there with you and let's hear what you have to say.
Thank you. Eva, I'm a little concerned that I didn't get one of those. I feel awkward now, you know. I would have loved to have tried out something like that.
You want that?
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah, you can make it to Montego Bay, Jamaica. Oh, better yet, why don't you bring it out there on a little vacation? Yeah. Okay, let me just ask all the governors-elect. Do you have an e-club in your district? Let's have a show of hands. Oh wow, I'm preaching to the converted here. Well, hopefully next few minutes, those of you that don't, may get a little better insight into e-clubs and the importance of flexibility that it provides into the Rotary world. So Eva, why don't you start us off by telling us what are the different types of e-clubs that there are?
Sure. There are 3 types of e-clubs. I'm from the global type. I'm from Rotary E-Club 1 in District 5450 in Denver, but I live in Germany. So we have Rotarians from all over the world. We cover all time zones, which explains why we cannot meet weekly. We have a forum where you post something. So let me give you an example. In December, I made a post where I wrote about German Christmas traditions. And then all of my fellow club members, they would answer what they do for Christmas or what thoughts they have about the German Christmas traditions. So this is one type. The second type is they meet online every week, like my brother's club, the London E-Club of Centenary. They meet as a Skype meeting, so they meet weekly online. The third type would be that you meet online and offline. So you could have one offline meeting in person per month, for example, and 3 online meetings. Haresh, why should governors support the creation of e-clubs in their district?
Well, e-clubs is a great way that you can target an audience that's more broader, in some cases different to a traditional or a terror club. In some cases, you'll be looking at a potential member that's more technologically savvy, one who perhaps doesn't have the time to dedicate to a traditional or terror club. So the e-club is a great option to have to engage that person and keep them within the family of Rotary. So speaking of engaging them, why don't you tell us some of the reasons that one would want to join an e-club?
There are various reasons why someone would join an e-club rather than a terror club. For example, someone who has a busy business schedule, who's traveling a lot, maybe a mom who just started a family and can't go to a weekly lunch meeting. There are also examples where someone might be physically challenged and cannot physically go to a meeting. So there are all sorts of reasons why someone might choose an e-club as a club model that would work for them. Talking about typical reasons to join Rotary e-clubs, how can e-clubs be used as a retention tool?
I'll give you an example of how we end up using e-clubs as a retention tool. So my district, Rotary District 7 to 20, we have 10 countries and 15 islands spread over the Caribbean. And what we started finding happening, there were several Rotarians that were migrating, going to different territories. In some cases, there were clubs there. In some cases, there were no clubs there. Having an e-club gave them an option to stay within the family of Rotary, to stay within the family of our Rotary district. They enjoyed the Caribbean flavor already. They were already part of service projects. They already had made several friends. They were already moving through the clubs into our district and serving Rotary beyond the club. So giving them the option of an e-club was a great way to keep them. Also, there were some that were starting families and they were not able to make the traditional terror club meeting times anymore. So it was a great retention tool and something that has really worked very well. Incidentally, we're going to be starting, our district has 3 languages, English, French, and Dutch. We're going to be starting a French language e-club as well to go along with the English one. So it's really working well for us. But using it just as a retention tool is one thing. Tell us about fellowshipping in e-clubs.
Well, actually, when asked about e-clubs, the question about fellowship is among the most frequently asked questions, and everybody's surprised that we have fellowship. So how do we do fellowship? For example, in our forum, we can do fellowship. We can do that in webinars, Skype meetings, in-person meetings, like my Rotary E-Club. We meet at the RI convention every year on Monday night as an annual dinner. So that explains why a lot of members of my club actually attend the RI convention. There are various possibilities to do fellowship, and if you look at the social media, in a time where you keep up with your friends on Facebook and Twitter, it's very close that it's obvious that you can also have fellowship in a Rotary E-Club. Another question that comes along when people ask about Rotary E-Clubs is always about service. Can you tell me, how do Rotary E-Clubs do service?
Okay, so here's a picture with service. If the Rotarians that are part of the E-Club live in close proximity, they could come together and do a service project. If the Rotarian is in an area where they don't have any other members of the E-Club, but that area has a traditional or a terra club, they can join with that club and give back in service. If the Rotarian is in an area where there are no Rotary clubs, and there are no other members of their E-Club, they can do service on their own. Additionally, they could come together as an E-Club membership and contribute and even do an international service project. So there are several ways that Rotarians of E-Clubs can give service. Let's talk about dues and flexibility. We're talking about flexibility with E-Clubs. What about dues within an E-Club?
For example, in my club, when someone was a Rotaractor, so a former Rotaractor who was joining our club within 2 years after he or she left Rotaract, they don't have to pay an ignition fee. We have an ignition fee, which is a fee that you would pay when you enter a club. Talking a little more about flexibility, what kind of new flexible club models are at the horizon?
A lot of stuff is going on, a lot of stuff. The Council on Legislation is going to be meeting later on this year. So as governors-elect, this is a great time to be a Rotarian. This is a great time to lead your district. I will urge you that there's a lot of things coming on the horizon, a lot of proposals. We're talking about proposals with attendance. We're talking about changes in meeting frequency, meeting format, meeting time. So there are things that are coming up that are going to be proposed to the Council on Legislation. And we have the opportunity to go back, engage your club members, engage your presidents-elect, speak to them, and talk to your representative to the Council on Legislation, and make some of the changes that you think will help Rotary be more flexible, help Rotary move into the brighter future that we know it can go into. So this is a great time to look at that. Terror clubs. What do you think terror clubs can learn, or traditional clubs can learn from an E-Club?
I think terror clubs can learn mainly in terms of flexibility and meeting time. So in the future, terror clubs might want to consider having one online meeting or 2 online meetings adding in their portfolio.
All right, great. How about a call to action now? Is there any way any district government-elect who would like to start an E-Club in their district, how would they go about doing that?
Sure, there are 3 things you can do. First of all, I would like to recommend you to take a picture with me at my booth. Why do I recommend that? You can take a picture and then take it back to your PATs and district conferences and use it as a promotional tool for Rotary E-Clubs. When you're back home, please look out for our email. My RI E-Club committee will send you an email with all the tools on how to start a new club. However, if you want to start a club, you need people. So how do you find someone to join a club? If I were you, I would identify 2 or 3 past Rotaractors and 2 or 3 active Rotarians. Rotarians who consider leaving Rotary because perhaps of a busy time schedule or because they travel a lot. Build a core group of these 5 or 6 people and let them launch the E-Club.
All right, great. And our email addresses are on the monitor, so hopefully we'll give you a little bit of snippet on eClubs, and if you want more information, feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Help me to thank you and Haresh. Thank you. Great job. So we talked about youth services, and now we've talked about flexibility with eClubs, and now we're going to transition to